Merry Christmas. What's the difference between a house and a home? Sounds quite obvious, doesn't it? I think it's quite obvious to us, the difference between a house and a home. A house is just a building, isn't it? It's just, don't spoil the surprise. There we go. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? A house is just a building. It could be empty of furniture. It would still count as a house, wouldn't it? But a home is where everything fits. It's where you can be completely yourself. It's where everything makes sense because you've put it exactly where you want it. It's where you feel safe. It's where you feel comfortable. It's where your relationships aren't with strangers, but with family. I want to contrast this with an experience I had when I was a student. A few friends and I decided to take a trip here, not there, to Paris for a few days, and we got the megabus. It was about 99 pence each way, I think. And before we went, we spent a bit of time looking online for the perfect accommodation to stay in, for the perfect hostel. And we found somewhere within our budget. I think it was about €10 a night. Excellent value. We found somewhere that promised an authentic French breakfast. Sounds good, doesn't it? A view of Paris. Comfortable beds. Sounded just like home. The reality was very different to the promise. The authentic French breakfast was a vending machine with croissants in packets. The view of Paris was of Paris, but it was of a huge, glorious Parisian drain pipe, oozing sewage into a little tiny courtyard. And the rooms were about 12 bunk beds that had been sort of shoved into a cupboard. I think many of us have experienced this in our lives. Now, I'm not saying that we've all experienced exactly that, but I think all of us have experienced something similar. The world has promised home for us. It promises the world that if we work really hard, if we're really successful, then we'll feel like maybe we belong here. People will look at us and we won't need to hide who we are. We'll be able to be ourselves. We'll be able to be relaxed and comfortable. Or maybe if we earn enough money, we'll be able to choose exactly how our life is. All the good things of the world will be at our fingertips, and this world will be our perfect home. It will meet all our deepest desires. Or maybe if we surround ourselves with people who really like us, we'll feel that comfort of having somewhere that we belong. But it doesn't quite fit. We still feel this longing for home. And that's because all these things are like eating croissants from a vending machine, looking out on a Parisian drain pipe. Because we live in a world that does not fulfill our deepest desires, because this is not the home that we were designed for. Today's passage that we've had read to us tells us that what we're actually longing for is our true home. But our true home is not a place or a set of circumstances. It's not somewhere that we have to look for and find and create for ourselves. Rather, our true home comes to us when God moves in. Because until we have a relationship with our Creator, with God, we're sleeping in a cupboard with 12 bunk beds. This passage from Isaiah was written hundreds of years before the first Christmas. But I believe it speaks about the birth of Jesus. I believe it shows us three things about Christmas that we're going to look at together this morning. Number one, the comfort of Christmas. Number two, the glory of Christmas. Number three, the good news of Christmas. So number one, the comfort of Christmas. During the first COVID-19 lockdown a few years ago, we were living in London. We'd had our first child, Hope. She was 5 months old, and we didn't have any outdoor space in our flat. So often we'd have to go out, we'd sort of go out for the daily exercise you were allowed to go out for. But it would consist of sticking the baby in the sling, trying to get her to sleep. And often you just feel, you guys I'm sure remember this, you just feel so frustrated with everything. But sometimes you come across these posters or graffiti that said this. It said, "This too shall pass." It was kind of a way to try and bring comfort to a really bleak situation. And it was fairly comforting to be able, just for a few seconds, to think past all that misery and loneliness of the lockdown and look forward to that day when it would all pass. And it did, didn't it? And this year, God willing, we'll still be able to gather on Christmas Day. Do you remember we couldn't? It passed. The passage we're looking at this morning is addressed to a people in a far worse situation than COVID-19. This is addressed to a nation who have completely lost their home. 2,500 years ago, God's people, the Israelites, were attacked by a big mean empire called Babylon. There's a picture there of one of the people attacking the capital city. And they were dragged out of their home, kicking and screaming, away from their city and into exile. Now, this is sometimes the sort of thing we say quite flippantly, because it's ancient history. It was 2,500 years ago. And maybe the image in our head is something like this, these kind of stone carvings of these two-dimensional people in the British Museum. But these are real people who suffered real trauma, serious, serious trauma. And I think these days we've seen something quite similar closer to home, haven't we, with the war in Ukraine and various other situations around the world where people have had to flee to find somewhere safe. Many people in this church have worked really hard to support lots of these people with this really nasty trauma. But in the Bible, it's kind of different. In the book of Isaiah, which the passage today is from, the whole first 39 chapters of that book, of the book of Isaiah, are all warnings that this was going to happen. Isaiah was telling the people they will be exiled. This is going to happen. And why was he saying that? Oh, back a little bit. That's the one. Doesn't matter. It's not that important. The first 39 chapters of Isaiah are all warnings that this was going to happen, that Israel are going to be exiled. Now, why was this going to happen? Well, the formula was very simple. God made a deal with Israel. He said God, would live right in the middle of their country. He would give them everything they needed all the time. He would make it their home. He would be their God, and they would be his people. And he would protect them from all of their enemies. But the sort of condition was they had to worship him, only him. This meant looking after the poor and marginalized. This meant not sacrificing their children to false gods. This meant not making political alliances with lots of different countries, allowing God to protect them rather than summoning different gods. But if anyone's read the Bible, you'll be familiar with the fact that they couldn't do it at all. They failed at all of these things and many, many, many more things. And so in 597 BC, 2,500 years ago, there's a big knock at the door, and Babylon takes them out of the land into exile. God takes away his protection. The temple, where God lives, is destroyed. God moves out. The first 39 chapters of Isaiah are all about how this is going to happen. It's just doom and gloom all the way through. And then in the pit of despair, with Jerusalem, their city, a pile of bricks, thinking they've messed things up forever, God sends his prophets to say this: comfort, comfort my people, says your God. They are still his people. He is still their God. He has not left them. That phrase we looked at earlier, this too shall pass, it's a little bit comforting, isn't it? It sort of tells us that however bad things get, that pain won't last forever. How much more comforting is this for us? That our God will never abandon us. However far we run from him, however much we rebel, he will still be our God if we want him. Why is this? Well, look at the next verse. It says, speak tenderly. You could translate that, speak to the heart of Jerusalem. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and proclaim to her that her hard service has been completed, that her sin has been paid for, that she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins. This hard service that it's talking about there means the exile. It means when they've been taken out of their land. And Isaiah is saying their struggle is over. So we're sort of fast forwarding a little bit here. Isaiah's speaking into that situation. He's saying their struggle will one day be over. This too shall pass. God will bring them home. Why? Because their sin has been paid for. They've received the consequences of their actions. Their rebellion meant exile was inevitable. It was going to happen. But on the other side of it, God was there with open arms. He says, comfort, comfort my people. What does this have to do with us, though? The thing is, the Bible shows us that the story of Israel is the story of all of us, because we have all turned from God. We've wandered off like sheep. We've turned away from him, and we've all been exiled from our true home. Our true home, a close relationship with God. Because we were created, the Bible tells us, for a garden paradise where we could live with our Creator God forever. But we live away in exile because we've chosen a hostel with a drain pipe for a view and a breakfast vending machine. But God says, comfort, comfort my people. But how do we know this isn't some empty promise? How do we know this isn't a trite comment meant to make us feel better? How do we know this is more than just this too shall pass? Because at Christmas, when God moved in, he did actually come. He did actually keep his promise of comfort. Jesus really was born. So we can know that God did not abandon his people, and he never will. Some of us really need to hear this comfort this morning. Some people here this morning need to know that God has not abandoned you, that he says you are his, that he is your God, that you belong to him. Some people here are going through unbearably difficult situations, and your life just doesn't feel like home. You feel like an exile in an unfamiliar world. You just long for that feeling of belonging, that feeling of home. Others here might be aware that your life choices have brought you into exile, that you've rebelled against God, that you failed. Maybe now you're living with the consequences of your actions, and every day you feel like you're looking out on the ruins of Jerusalem, wishing you could go back in time and change so many things. God says, comfort, comfort my people. No matter how far away you've gone, I have come to you in Christ. I'm still your God. You are still my people. This is the comfort of Christmas, that God refuses to abandon his people, and he proved it by moving in. Secondly, this passage tells us about the glory of Christmas. Are we going to go to the next one? Oh, okay. We'll just stay there for now. We'll stay on that one. That's great. The glory of Christmas. You can picture it. You can picture the title. What does glory mean? What does that actually mean? We talk about this a lot. We talk about a glorious victory, don't we? A glorious victory, or an achievement, or a glorious holiday that we've had. Oh, it was a glorious holiday. Or the glorious weather. No one's saying that at the moment, are they? But the Bible talks a lot about God's glory, and it's very different. We see God's glory in what he created. For example, I've got a question for you. You've seen a bit of a sneak preview here. I've got a question for you. Has any of you ever made a star? I'm not talking about origami. Has any of you ever made a star? Hands up. No one's made a star. Okay. Like our sun. You know, no one's done that. Okay, fair enough. It's quite simple, but you need some way of producing the same energy as billions of hydrogen bombs every second. So if you can get that, then you can probably make a star. And this is what our sun does. Do you know that? Our sun produces the same energy as billions of hydrogen bombs every second. And our sun that does that is one of this many. There we go. This many, that one followed by all those zeros. This many stars, and that's not in the whole universe. That's in the little tiny bit of the universe that we can observe, the observable universe, the bit that we can see. And God made those. The Bible says the stars show us his glory. We see his raw power when we look at them. And in the Bible, when God came to live in the temple, back in the time of Solomon, it says the priests couldn't even go in because the glory of the Lord had filled it. So when God moved in, his glory moved in. It was so powerful and so dangerous and so unapproachable that no one could go near it and stay alive. God is so utterly glorious that he's completely unapproachable. But then look at verse 3. Oh. Look at verse 3. It says, a voice of one calling, in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be raised up, every mountain and hill made low. The rough ground shall become level, The rugged places are plain, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed. And all people will see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. To kind of sum up these verses, the king is coming on this sort of highway that's being made here. It's not an A14 construction project, you'll be pleased to know. But this is the king on his way. He's on the move. When he comes, all people will see his glory. All people will see the glory of God. How? How is this going to happen? What's this going to look like? What are we going to see? 500 years after the exile, I know we're sort of jumping around history here, but bear with me. 500 years after the exile, when God's people are now living under the Roman oppression, under the Romans, we see the glory of God in Luke chapter 2. There's a man called Simeon. You might have heard of him. He's waiting for something. It says he's waiting for the consolation of Israel. The other word for consolation is comfort. He's waiting for the comfort of Israel. It's exactly the same word that's used in our passage. So he was waiting. Can we go to the next one? Oh, there we go. He was waiting for this promise, for the end of the exile, for the glory of the Lord to be revealed, for God to move in, for him to come back to his temple like he did in the time of Solomon, as we said, when the glory filled the temple. That's what Simeon's waiting for. So he goes there. He goes to the temple. And look, what does he see when he gets there? Is he able to go in? Is he able to stand in the presence of the God who made the stars? What does the glory of the Lord look like? Looks like a teenage mother and a faithful husband frantically tending to their screaming baby. Looks like bags under their eyes from sleepless nights and a long journey, and a baby who Simeon gets to hold in his arms. It's the glory of the Lord. What a God we have. Simeon immediately thinks back to Isaiah 40, to our passage, and he says that in this baby, he says, "My eyes have seen your salvation." He says that this is God showing himself to the Gentiles, it says there. But that means all people. The Gentiles means the nations, all people. What does this mean then? How do all people see it together? Because at Christmas, God's glory was not revealed in a firework display or an earthquake or flashing bright lights. The shepherds saw that, but no one else saw that. He revealed his glory to all people by becoming a person. He revealed his glory to all people by becoming one of us. This is how we get to see it. If he hadn't done this, he'd still be unapproachable. He'd still be like that glory cloud in the temple where the people couldn't even go in. It's the God who made the stars. But he became utterly approachable so we can all see his glory. He became utterly approachable so that everyone can have the opportunity to come to him, so that everyone can get to personally know their God, so that everyone could come home. So whoever you are, whether you think you're glorious in the world's eyes or not, whether you're successful or you feel completely ragged, whether you're rich or poor, sick or healthy, educated or uneducated, God moved in for you. For you. Because Christianity is not a religion to get good at, or something to know loads of stuff about, or a way to behave. Rather, it's a person to get to know. This is what it means to come home. This is what it means to come to Jesus this Christmas. See the glory of God in him. See his terrifying power, but his humble heart. And know that he came for you to bring you home. So we've seen the comfort of Christmas, seen the glory of Christmas. Now to kind of sum it all up, what is the good news of Christmas? Christmas is good news, isn't it? Oh, go back. So many spoilers. If you just go to the next, that's it. The good news of Christmas. There we go. Good news of Christmas. We've got family all over the country. So often we're very busy because we have to go and visit them, which is nice, but very long journeys in the car with 3 children. And the way home, so the way there is always very exciting, isn't it? When you're going on holiday, the way there is very exciting. Everyone's kind of happy and you bring snacks and all this kind of stuff. It's all very, you can go to McDonald's on the way there. It's all very exciting. The way home is very stressful. I don't know if you've had kids yourself, you kind of, I can hear some laughs. Absolutely. There's loads of screaming from the kids and Rachel. There's the service stations. Again, you've already done the service stations the way there, and you have to do them again on the way back. You've got backache from sitting in the car for 7 or 8 hours. But there's a point in the journey where, for me, there is a huge sign of comfort. And if we could have the next slide, I'm not even going to bother with the clicker. It is that huge, glorious sugar factory. As I'm driving on the A14 and I see it there on the horizon, puffing all of its steam up into the sky, I know I'm almost home. But very soon, I'm going to open the front door. I'm going to smell that distinctive smell of my own house. I'm going to be able to sit on my sofa, be able to read my books, be able to make a cup of tea with my kettle, which is in exactly the right place, exactly where I put it. So when I see that sort of barrel thing, whatever it is, on the horizon, I know I'm nearly home. I'm nearly able to rest. And the rest of the journey becomes a lot easier, doesn't it? When you know the end is in sight. When we know we're almost home. That barrel, whatever it is, how many are there? 4? Whatever that is. The sugar factory is good news for me. It's good news. I think Christmas is a little bit like this. It's a little bit like seeing that sugar factory on the A14. Let me explain. Bear with me, okay? This passage that we've looked at this morning shows us that Christmas is good news. Just listen again to a little bit of it, okay? It says, this is from verse 7, sort of the second part of verse 7. If we go, yeah, there we go. It says, surely the people are grass. The grass withers. The flowers fall. But the word of our God endures forever. Verse 9, you who bring good news to Zion, go up on a high mountain. You who bring good news to Jerusalem, lift up your voice with a shout. Lift it up. Do not be afraid. Say to the towns of Judah, here is your God. He's moved in. As we get near the end of the year, thinking back on 2025, I wonder if you think there's been more good news in general or bad news. What do you think? Has there been more good news or bad news? We've seen the Israel and Palestine conflict raging. We've seen no end to the war in Ukraine. Just this week, we learned about that horrific shooting in Australia. 15 people killed. This stuff is devastating. It just seems like it's bad news all the time. So what is the good news of Christmas? Is it the promise of this or that politician claiming they can end all these problems for us or bring us economic prosperity? Or is it the promise of an amazing family gathering on Christmas Day? Or is it the promise that the Christmas presents we get will make us happy? No. Isaiah says here that everything one day wither like grass. The good stuff and the bad. But this isn't a trite comment to make us feel better. This isn't, this too shall pass. The good news of Christmas is that when we do turn on the news and we see truly awful things happening, we can remember that when Jesus was born, it was a sign to all the evil in this world that it is here on borrowed time. That everything that is wrong with this world will soon be made right. Look at verse 10. It says, see, the sovereign Lord comes with power, and he rules with a mighty arm. Because this baby was born to die. And when Jesus died, when death swallowed him up, he cut it open from the inside and destroyed it and came out the other side, the true king over life and death. This means for us that King Jesus is alive and well. And at Christmas, we celebrate that one day there will be a second Christmas, and our King will return. And on the second Christmas, God will move in to make this world our true home. Everything will fit. Everything will be right. It says there, he rules with a mighty arm. He will rule. This is a promise. This is going to happen. What else does he do with this mighty arm, with all his power, the same hands that made the stars? Look at verse 11. He tends his flock like a shepherd, gathers the lambs in his arm, carries them close to his heart, gently leads those that have young. That wordplay is there on purpose. The two arms. God has two arms. With one, he rules as king. He deals with evil. What does he do with the other one? Leads us, holds us, brings us home. Jesus, our good shepherd, he comes to find us no matter how far away we've gone, picks us up in his arms, brings us home. So for those of us this morning who are longing for home, God is moving in. It's promised that he will come again. When he does, our relationships will be completely restored. He will wipe away our every tear. There will be healing. And our shepherd king will rule with justice and power. We'll see him every single day. It's good news, isn't it? During Advent, during the build-up to Christmas, this is what we're longing for. Because as we long for Christmas Day, as we long to sit around with our loved ones, laughing, rejoicing, experiencing their generosity and love, when everything is as it should be, and we can be completely ourselves, we can remember that this is just a tiny shadow of what it will be like on the day when God moves in and brings us our true home. Like seeing that sugar factory on the way into Bury St Edmunds this year, let the first Christmas remind you that the second Christmas will come. Soon you will be home. All shall be well. All shall be well. All manner of things shall be well. I'm going to pray, and we're going to take communion in a minute. Oh Lord God, we thank you that you moved in. Lord, we thank you that we get this time before Christmas to really meditate on that truth. That truth that you came to us, that truth that you came to find us, that truth that you came to bring us home into a relationship with you, where we no longer have to sit with the view of a drain pipe, Lord, but we have the view of your face. One day we'll have the view properly. We'll be able to see you face to face. Thank you, God, that is true. And I pray for anybody here this morning who is feeling the sting of Christmas, not the joy of Christmas, but the sting. Lord, for anyone here who has lost loved ones this year or any other year for that matter. Lord, for anyone who is away from home this Christmas, Lord, I pray you would bring them your comfort. Lord, comfort not in a trite thought, this too shall pass, or anything like that, Lord, but in the reality that you are there, that you are with them, that you love them. Lord, I pray that all of us this Christmas would feel your comfort, your true comfort, and we'd experience true home.